to be able to walk on one side of the wall and know freedom, but yet on the other side of the wall there was not freedom. And that was really hard to grasp, that 10 feet away the lifestyle was completely different. I'd had the opportunity to take organized tours over there. You would have to have your passport with you. The guards would come on with their weapons. They would check your passports. They would check the buses with mirrors. They'd look underneath the buses just to make sure there was nothing suspicious going on. We would be on the bus through the tour of the town. We never got off the bus. I can tell you that the city itself was very dark and very gray. It was lifeless. There was no color. You didn't see kids playing. It just seemed like everything was black and white. No color in the community.
And there were people who lived, who grew up in East Germany, but were, when the Russians came, after the war came in, I mean, there are horror stories of what went on. Rape was, they're just absolute horror stories, with the Russians getting into Berlin at the end of the war. I mean, this was not just the wall, it opened up. When you look at East and West Germany, it's a big territory. But the wall coming down opened up the border between East and West Germany. And, I remember Rosemary and I happened to be in Nuremberg on the same weekend when the wall came down. And what I remember about it was that these very well-known little East German cars, they were sort of like a little boxy economy car. And they would drive the minute the wall was open. And, one day suddenly these little cars drive into West Germany, into Nuremberg. We're one of the first sort of bigger cities outside of the border. And whereas normally if these cars come in and park somewhere, they'd be getting tickets like anybody else if it's something wrong. But that was a time when the German police, they let them park anywhere they wanted to. And I saw people coming out of houses and put flowers on their windshield wipers, So it was a very dramatic event.
So we wanted to be a part of taking the wall down, and we didn't really have any tools with us. So we were walking along the wall and, trying to borrow hammers from people, and we ran across this man who was probably in his 80s, and he didn't speak English, but we talked to some other people who were able to translate, and he had told us that he had been a part of constructing the wall. So he had helped to build the wall, and now he was helping to tear the wall down. And when he told his story, you could see the tears in his eyes because he was so happy that the wall was coming down, and it was very emotional for him. He let us use his hammer, and we broke part of the wall. We were able to take chips of the wall as well, and you can see it's very colorful on this side. This is again part of the artwork of the wall. We stayed there for quite some time, and we had gotten there the afternoon that the wall started coming down. So the 12-foot wall was probably already about halfway down, at least in the area that we were in. Hundreds and thousands of people just walking and finding bigger rocks to chip off the pieces of the wall, just to save a piece for themselves as a memento, but also to just make sure the wall came down.
And so what we saw was about a mile long of the remaining wall. Most of it's been removed, but there was about a mile that's been built as a park to tribute the horrific treatment of people, the East Berlin people. And so now people paint graffiti on it. It's got some really happy and wild and some really sad graffiti on it. And it changes regularly. People are invited to come and write on it, and people come and take pictures and look at this part of the wall. And the rest of the wall has remained in a way a monument in that there are concrete bricks laid into the street at street level that mark the areas that the Berlin Wall went as it went throughout Berlin. And I think at one point there was about 60 miles or so of wall, I believe, inside Berlin that was helped to divide the city. And so that's all marked. There's a path that you can walk and see where the wall had been in the dividing lines, and in some cases it goes through a building which is now built. All in all, it was just unbelievably terrible the way the Russians had treated basically their population. So it was really sad, and yet it was happy to know that those days are behind.